I just spent the morning really cultivating deep intentions of coming out of this period and into life, and what is it that I want to take from this time and bring into my future for the rest of the year and beyond. What are some things that I want to ignite and brighten in and bring into the world? And I'm passionate about working on goals and projects that light you up. So I'd really encourage you to do that as well. This flow is, we're actually going to start standing. This flow is simply a full-bodied flow. We're going to be working into all the areas of the body, opening up through the chest, igniting the core, igniting that fire within. And so you can come on up. If you've got any shoulder things happening, then feel free to rearrange the poses as you need to. Thanks so much for being here. So coming to stand at the front of the mat and have the feet hip-width apart and parallel, and just take some time with a buoyant, lifted heart. And maybe rather than, we're habitually tipping the head forward looking at devices and such, so maybe even leaning back and just making this a more obvious way of standing in your openness. And what is it that you're awakening to? So let's take a couple of expanded heart breaths, inhaling and opening the arms out, and exhaling the hands back into Namaste. And a couple more times like that, with your inhale finding expansion, and exhale to draw in. And last one. And even if you don't know what that is, maybe using this practice to open to possibilities and see what happens, see what comes. Let's release the arms down, sweeping the hands back, rise up through a chair pose, and exhaling to fold in, maybe straightening the legs. Goodness, winter hamstrings. Inhale to rise up into a chair. Keep the feet hip-width apart and check that the knees aren't knocking in, they just track straight forward. Exhale to fold in, maybe nodding yes a couple of times, really feeling yes in every essence of your being. Inhale. And rising into this chair and exhaling to release down. Rise up through a spinal roll, chin into the chest and coming all the way up. Allow the palms to touch overhead and exhale down through the center line again. And then lifting the right leg up to the sky and exhale to tap it across to the left side of the mat, like a chair pose type position, inhaling and lifting. And then we're going to do this curtsy squat position, so firing up the legs a little. So take the right foot off to the left, and ideally you're getting the right knee down close to the ankle. I've just got the arms out to the side to keep balance. And then inhaling to lift. And exhale to step yourself back. So it's just a shortish lunge, no problem. Inhaling and take an expanded heart breath, again that opening. And exhale, hands into Namaste. Sweep the arms down, inhale, and we'll do this a couple of times. So either touching the foot to the floor, or if you wanted to, this figure four shape. And then inhaling to lift and exhale, arms out and into this, so like a curtsy squat position. You should feel your left glute firing, not so much your glute. Inhale and lift, and exhaling, stepping back and into this, just a baby lunge position. One expanded heart breath, inhaling to open and exhaling in. And we'll do one more round. So inhale, coming forward, just waking up the lower body. Again, that warming, and curtsy squat, sinking down. You could maybe touch the knee to the floor. maybe, maybe not. Inhale to lift, and then stepping back, short stance. Inhale to expand and open, and exhale back into Namaste. Inhale to step yourself forward, and you can touch the right foot down, fold yourself forward and down. Let's awaken the upper body as well now. Inhale to lift. Plant the hands and step yourself back, either a full or a half push-up position. Scooping the tail and lengthen the chest forward, and then press back into downward facing dog. So we'll do this a couple of times. Inhale, forward, plank pose. And thinking strength. Exhale, pressing back. Inhale, come forward, zip up from the pubic bone to the breastbone, activating through the core, and exhaling to press back. One more, inhale forward, and press the earth away from you as you lower yourself down. Inhale to rise up into your Shalabhasana, maybe bending the knees a little to get more activation through the hamstrings. And press down through the hands to lift through the upper back. Lift the thighs up off the floor. So skydiver variation. That skydiver that's in a free fall, just full horizon that you can see around you. Can you imagine all these infinite possibilities? You can then lower yourself down, rise up through a full or a half push-up, and back into downward facing dog. Again, inhale, come forward, plank, and exhale, pressing back. And twice more like that. As you come forward, scoop the tail, but send the chest forward, so you're not rounding too much through the upper back. Last one. And then pressing back. You can step or maybe jump yourself forward. I know your right glute is probably really excited and feels like it's missing out right now. So we'll even ourselves up, inhaling and lifting the left leg to the sky. For the moment, just cross it over and sink down like in a chair pose position, inhaling to lift. Open the arms out into a T shape and that curtsy squat. So you've got your left knee coming down towards the right ankle. Inhale to lift, and then exhale to step back. And one expanded heart breath, inhaling and exhaling. What is it that you're opening to? Inhale to step forward, and then crossing over, this time maybe a figure 4 shape, if you can. Inhaling to lift, and into that curtsy squat. So the foot will probably come off the mat behind you and lowering down. Drive through that right heel to lift up so that you're engaging through the glute, stepping back, and one expanded heart breath, inhaling. Exhale. And one more round like this, nice and slow, with control. Figure 4. Curtsy squat. Knee maybe touching the ground this time. Drive through that right heel to lift and step it back. One expanded heart breath. Stepping forward. Whew. Releasing chair pose. Inhale to lift. And swan dive yourself forward and down. That should have warmed you up a little. Inhale to lift halfway up. Plant the hands and stepping back again into your downward facing dog. And this time maybe coming through push-ups. So 3 yogic push-ups. Exhale down, inhale lift, and exhale back to downward facing. Of course, you can do that with your knees on the floor, no problem. Stay zipped up and strong through your core. Great news about this one is that we're going to come all the way down. Oh, don't know how those aerobics instructors do it. All right, so here in Sphinx pose for a moment. Lengthening toes back and heart forward, and finding again that openness. So it might be less obvious here, but instead of just collapsing, find a buoyancy and a lift through the chest. Send the heart forward. And from here you can then go namaste hands, tuck the toes towards you, find a dolphin plank. So forearms down. Again, that zipping up through the midline. And if it's okay for your shoulders, pressing back towards a dolphin pose, early dolphin pose, so it may or may not be right for you. Engage the forearms down into the earth and lift the hips up high. You could even bend the knees slightly. And then let's melt the knees down onto the floor, sink the hips back to the heels, and take one of those expanded heart breaths. Beautiful. Press through the shins, inhale. If that's okay for your knees, you may need to wiggle back on your mat too. So with the hands in namaste, let's transfer the weight over to the left knee and step the right foot forward. And take one of these heart opening mandalas. Inhale to lift the elbows high. Exhale, press the palms away and reaching the arms forward. Lay the belly on the thigh. Inhale to lift, engage down so you're not sagging into the joints, but lifting, buoyant. And then exhale, release the left hand down onto the floor and twisting yourself around. Let the right arm lengthen alongside the ear and straightening the back leg up as well. Awesome, good. And then from here, release and touch down. A couple more yogic push-ups if you're up for it. Inhale, remember you can have the knees down. Exhale, not dipping too far, just shoulders to elbow height. And back to downward facing. One complete push-up. Thinking light, thinking buoyant, maybe filled with joy. That will bring a sense of lightness. And then lowering down. Come through your Sphinx pose again. And then let's take Cobra, so tent the fingertips, and take the hands off the mat and go for that a little bit. Give yourself some space. So giving yourself space to experience more opening between the collarbones, across the chest, maybe even across the face. There's no one around, or maybe. Perhaps just smile and see what happens. Awaken that joy. You can then lower yourself down. Rise up through a full or a half push-up, actually just to hands and knees, and then back into your Vajrasana. Inhaling, expanded heart breath. And exhale, bringing in that which you want to in this moment. Press through the shins, inhale and rise up. And exhale down through the center. So transfer the weight onto that right shin and stepping the left foot forward. And as you inhale, interlace the fingers, lift the elbows high. Exhale to press away and lay the belly onto the thigh. Inhale to reach up. And then keep that openness, so your full wingspan here from right fingertips to left fingertips, then adding in straightening the back leg and lengthen the arm alongside the ear. So project this goal, this dream that you have. It should actually stretch you and help you to grow. You need to maybe become a different person as you move into fulfilling that goal or project, as you dream it into existence. So stretch and grow a little more into that, one step closer towards your dream. You can then release and touch down. From here, step forward, lift halfway up as you inhale, and exhale to fold yourself in. Again, that nodding yes, maybe swaying a little side to side. Come on up through a spinal roll. Let the palms touch overhead, and exhale the hands down through Namaste. And pausing for a little moment. Again, with that heart lifted, feel that capacity within you has grown to see more, to know more. These pointing out instructions that we're being handed at the moment, such a golden opportunity to see things differently, see new perspectives that are inclusive. So let's take one expanded heart breath, inhaling to expand, maybe laying into that hand, into that opening, and exhale, hands into Namaste. Right leg, again, inhale, let it lift. Exhale it across and hooking around, Garuda. So your left elbow is on top and coming down. So sinking down, I love the mythology of Garuda. So Garuda, the eagle god, when he was born, he was too bright, too brilliant. And so all the other gods told him to diminish his light because he would blind everyone. And so that's what we do. We shrink down and sink into, or shrink into, dim our own light in Garuda here. And then when we expand, we can, which we will now, go into that fullness, deliberate full opening and stepping that right leg all the way back. Take the left hand up into the air and right hand onto the thigh and go into that full expansion, that full expression. Maybe considering where have you been diminishing yourself, and don't let yourself do it any longer. Don't dim your light for others. Beautiful. All right, cartwheel the hands down. One hand either side of the foot. We'll stretch the left leg up and back and into a three-legged dog, opening the pelvis out. And why not? Come forward like a side plank and flip over, landing lightly in your wild thing. And stepping back forward. So it'll be your same left leg in front, and turn the back heel in and down. So into a reverse warrior. Pardon my back. So this time it's more like a Vira 2 shape. You've got the back heel down. We had it lifted before. And then coming out and into Parshvakonasana. I'd really encourage you to come into the bind here if that's an option for you. But if it's not, remember it's just a yoga pose. Really not worth stressing over. But the idea here is in that bind, even in that bind, can you remain expansive? Can you even use the bind to increase your opening, your potential? And then release and touch down. Recoil, stepping forward. Lift the chest and opening through the front of the body. And exhale to fold. Rising up, reverse swan dive. Bring the palms to touch overhead. So just a little interlude, stretching out through the left quad. So catch the left foot with the hand. The sun's come out, that's nice. Squeeze the knees together. And rather than tipping forward into this Natarajasana position, oh, that sounded really bogan. Natarajasana. So if you engage through the glutes and press the hips forward as you find that quad opening. And then all you need to do is kick the foot back. So stay lifted, stay upright. And smoothly releasing and touching down. Take one of these expanded heart breaths. Inhale and opening, opening out. Opening. What is the project, the goal, the dream that you want to bring into life, to share with others, to help to transform the lives of others? Releasing the arms down, inhale, sweeping out and up, and just one forward fold. Lift halfway up as you inhale, and exhale, maybe diving into yourself, catching hold behind the ankles, and this symbolic diving in. I really love the story, the allegory of the postures. So as you go inside, what is it that's yearning to come out? What is it that is bubbling away, is burning inside of you, that is just dying to get out? And then you need to dare to express it as you rise up and open out. And circling back around. So we're still at the front of our mat, and then inhaling and sweeping the arms up. And exhale the hands down through the center line. So this time the left leg lifts, inhaling, and crossing over into Garuda. So we go right elbow on top here, and then remember this Garuda is that shrinking down. If you can, elbow to the opposite knee and really curling tight into a little ball and pondering what is it, where is it in your life that you dim yourself, maybe to not blind others. And then the symbology of unraveling is actually that as you let your light shine, then it inspires others to let their light shine as well. So let's do that now. Unravel and lift. And then exhaling and stepping all the way back. So this will be your left hand on your left thigh. We're facing forward, and we're just in a lunge and going into that fullest expression of that light. And it's as if on cue the light has come out. That is pretty cool. And then cartwheeling the hands down, and we stretch back into the three-legged dog. So in your three-legged dog with your right leg lifted, you're flipping yourself over and into Wild Thing. Again, just that possibility of expansion. And then releasing, stepping down and stepping all the way forward. Turn the back heel in and down and come on up into this Virabhadrasana 2 shape, reverse warrior. So reverse warrior, this time we've got the left heel in and down, so more like a Vira 2 shape. I'm sure you're doing amazing. Your own beautiful, unique expression. Then into Parshvakonasana, and this is where I invited you into the bind, if that's an option for you. And in the bind, I want you to, how can you use that bind and actually grow and expand from it? So this is often what happens in life. We have this perceived limit, and it's actually through this limit that's how we grow. That's how we transform. So that is the pathway. All right, so then let's release and touch down. I'll end sermon, step forward, lifting halfway up. No, I can't guarantee that. Can't help myself. Come on up. So perceived limitations are there for us to grow. You can then release down. We'll transfer over and stretch out that right quad this time. So heel to the buttock and take the right knee back while pressing the hips forward, stretching the top arm up, and then rather than dipping down into maybe your lower nature, how can you stay buoyant, stay high, stay lifted, and take the foot back. Natarajasana. Sometimes doggies come just so you can hold on to them. Yes, wet dogs. And taking the hands back into Namaste. Inhale to sweep the arms up. Isn't it wonderful to have a doggy who photobombs? So happy to have you here. Yes, yes we are. We really are. Lift halfway up and then stepping yourself back into downward facing dog. You can lower the knees down onto the earth and sit back onto the heels once again, making some room for the dog to sit down. Take an inhale, open through the front of the body, and exhaling. Oh, I love you so much. That could potentially be the end of practice. We'll see. No, okay. Let's take the hands down onto the earth and take a twisting movement. Let's take the right arm. Inhale the right arm open to the sky and exhaling to thread it through. Take the left arm alongside the ear and stretch it forward. And again, so twists might be that you feel like you're in a tight bind, but actually they're wonderful opening postures. And then releasing from here, you can plant the hands and stretch your right leg back behind you. As you exhale, bring the knee into the chest and traveling forward into pigeon pose. So moving down, sinking the hips down, making sure that they're level. So your lower back is level to the floor and folding yourself down. Just a couple of moments here, a couple of breaths. And then you can rise up and let's take a more active pigeon position. So if it's okay for your body, then have the back toes tucked and stay lifted here. It's like you're scissoring the legs towards each other. You could stay with the hands on the floor or hands onto the hips, or maybe again go into that opening. And releasing, touching the hands down. It actually come down onto forearms and send that right leg back. Come into a dolphin plank once again, zipping up from pubic bone to breastbone, yet staying open through the chest. Look down at your feet. Make sure that the feet are wider than hip width apart as we then pivot both heels down to the right. The right forearm will come across the body for a little and stretching the left arm up, and then let's lower up and down a few times. So exhaling down and inhaling, lifting. A few more times, cinching through the side waist, muffin top buster. And one last time, lifting and lowering yourself back down, sink onto the heels, come through Anahatasana. You could do this with, or puppy pose it's sometimes called. So you could do it like with the hands on the floor or elbows on the floor. Do check that the thighs are vertical though. And then rising back up to a hands and knees position. And you can take the left arm open to the sky, threading through, and then reaching the right arm forward alongside the ear. And again, you're going for this experience of opening. Even though it seems like a bind, how can you find expansion? And then how will you dare to express that in the world today? Is there one thing that you can do? Maybe one phone call. Maybe it's sending a text. Maybe it's sending an email. One thing that you can do to move closer to your dreams. So let's then unravel and come back up. So from hands and knees, send the left leg back behind you and the knee into the chest for pigeon pose. The first part is to fold down, so walking that right leg back and making sure that you've got this evenness through the lower back and the sacrum. I'm up on the elbows, but you could feel free to move the elbows out and melt yourself down. I neglected to say on the previous side, but you don't really want to have any knee pain here in pigeon pose. You're better off to do threading the needle pose if you're getting any knee pain. Give yourself 2 more melting breaths. And then you can slowly emerge. Again, be active for a moment. So with the back toes tucked. So this hip is not on the floor. The left hip is lifted. And then maybe using the hands for support still. Maybe it's hands onto the hips. If you wanted to do this opening, make sure that you're not jamming into the lower back, but the expansion is through the whole spine. Think lifting upwards. And then releasing to touch the hands down. Come down onto the forearms. And again, taking this dolphin plank position. From dolphin plank, let's lift the hips. We'll come back to the muffin top buster in a moment, but rise up with the hips to find your dolphin pose, engaging the forearms into the earth and hips up to the sky. And then you can walk back out. So separate the feet wider than hip width apart and pivoting onto the left forearm. and the heels to the left. So pardon my back again, exhaling down and inhaling to lift. And if this isn't available, you could just have the bottom knee on the floor as an option as well. So always variations that are right for you, but still encouraging yourself to grow. Find your dolphin plank again, sitting back and into this Anahatasana once more. So rather than just aiming for the chin to touch the earth, see if you can get the chest down onto the floor first. And then from here you can slither through and spin yourself over onto your back. So maybe you are ready for Shavasana, and maybe you're facing a different direction to usual, and that's a great thing. So our yoga practice can bind us, but we always want to stay open and find ways to perhaps do it differently, so it will unravel those habituated ways of being. So you're either moving towards Shavasana if you're done, or we'll just take a little bridge pose. And entirely optional to come into wheel pose as well, tucking the fingers under the shoulders and lifting yourself up if you wanted to do that. And then lowering as you're ready. We'll reach down to take the left foot with the right hand and open that knee out, and then use the left hand to draw the right knee into the chest. So this quad opening, should be able to feel a little bit of a stretch through that left quad. If you're quite open there, it may not be too obvious. And then you can release the right foot down, open the arms out into a T shape, shuffle the hips over to the right side and coming into a spinal twist. So knees over to the left, the hips go to the right and the knees to the left. And then coming back through center, we'll simply take the second side. So that's your left hand holding the right foot, it's tucked under, and then the left hand holding the right knee into the chest. And enjoying this opening. Again, that essence of Garudasana, Garuda, the eagle deity, and how his light was too bright and so was asked to diminish it. Where are you either asked to diminish, or where do you voluntarily diminish your light and instead let it shine? You could maybe offer others sunglasses if necessary, or perhaps find others who don't require your diminishing your light. Okay, so let's move into this spinal twist now. So we shuffle the hips over to the left and then knees to the right, and twisting yourself through the spine. So we've covered lots of ground here today. You can place yourself down into Shavasana, and as always, there's the potential when you're doing a home practice to just skip Shavasana, but instead finish well. Stay here till the end. And it's really in Shavasana when the magic happens. So I encourage you to take this time. You've created space, carved space out of your day, and maybe given yourself permission to dream a little. So what is percolating inside of you? And how can you let that become real? Turn this dream into a reality. Just let this be more of an active Shavasana rather than the passive zone out. Actually ask good questions. What is my heart's longing? What music do I have inside that I need to express in the world? How can this be of benefit to myself and others? And with that thought, with that goodness, I shall leave you right here. Perhaps when you're done, you can get up and journal. Perhaps call an inspiring friend. Perhaps seek out some coaching. Seek out an inspiring webinar. Often from this space you're looking at things differently, so just be open to what arrives. Deep peace to you, namaste, and much love. Thank you.